If you enjoy my videos, please check out my website at creationsciencefiction.com, where you'll find articles on creationism, science, and my blog. If you really enjoy what I'm doing, please consider becoming a contributor at the link in the video description. Alex Reubenstahl is back, and in this video we're going to be looking at a really bizarre article by Jerry Bergman, a young Earth creationist, on a recent discovery of a dinosaur with bat-like wings. Okay, I'm here again with Alex Reubenstahl, and we're going to talk about an article that I read that just blew me away. It was published May 20th, 2019 by Dr. Jerry Bergman, called "Can a Dinosaur Have Bat-Like Wings?" Calling an animal a dinosaur does not make one. Now, this was published in Creation Evolution Headlines website. So Alex, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Yeah, this was a weird one.
It sure is, isn't it? You know, I did a little research on the website. I had to try to find out because I wasn't really that familiar with this website. And you know, Dr. Jerry Bergman, he's kind of bounced around a lot. He worked with Ken Ham for a while. Looks like there's been no articles published at AIG, you know, Answers in Genesis by him since maybe 2012. This website is run by David Cottage, and he worked at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory as a system administrator for the Cassini mission to Saturn.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I mean, he's got great credentials for, you know, outer space exploration, stuff like that.
That's cool.
His last article at creation.com, the CMI website, was June 2018. Now, again, this is Coppage. This isn't Bergman. You know, they say that Rational Wiki says that Bergman's affiliated with ICR, but I went to their website and he's not listed as a current author. So, again, you know, some of these guys kind of bounce around. Let me take a look at his bio. It says that, I know he claims to be a former atheist. It says Dr. Jerry Bergman has taught biology, genetics, chemistry, biochemistry, anthropology, geology, microbiology. I mean, he's taught everything, right? Several colleges and universities, including for over 40 years at Bowling Green State University, the one in Ohio here.
Yeah.
You know, he's got his graduate of the Medical College of Ohio, Wayne State University in Detroit. You know, it's not saying what his actual degree was in, but just where he graduated from. So, but yeah, I'll find that out. Put it in the video description. But yeah, it's just real interesting. Again, you know, claims to be a former atheist and converted to Christianity, and now he believes the Earth is 6,000 years old and people rode dinosaurs. So, what were your thoughts? Your first thoughts in reading the article there?
Well, it's an excuse to talk about a cool group. The Scansoriopterids are bizarre. I mean, the whole core of the piece is like a fundamental misunderstanding of anatomy, like the most basic levels. It doesn't take, you know, you could have an undergraduate degree in biology, glance at this thing, and now it's like, oh, this is definitely not a mammal. But it's definitely not a mammal. And I imagine we'll get into kind of why, but I can kind of set up like just the generalities about this group of animals, because there's a lot of confusion in kind of the public sphere and among some of these, a lot of these articles I've seen in response to it. So Ambopteryx is a Scansoriopterid, which is a weird little group of dinosaurs. There are like 4 or 5 valid genus right now. There might be a juvenile of one species. They don't get over 2 feet long. They're mostly under 20 inches. They appear to have been totally arboreal. Their fossil record is limited to the late Middle Jurassic and the early late Jurassic. They're only known from China. And they are a kind of paravian, which is the group that contains birds, troodontids and dromaeosaurs, and then also these guys. Where they fit is poorly understood. Some people think that they're these kind of basal oviraptorosaurs based on features of their skull. That's not widely held. Most people have them as a basal paravian. And kind of something that the article says is like, here are these no good scientists trying to say, they have to fit it into the line to birds somewhere, right?
Right.
All right. So yeah, this is a pretty conventional placement for the group. They're slightly closer to birds than oviraptors, but not as close as dromaeosaurs and troodontids. The node names on this figure are a little counterintuitive. Paraves should be where Aveale is, and Aveale should be where Jeholornis and other avians are. They fix it on their supplementary
Oh, okay.
tree. So if you get into their actual
this is the original paper
category
here that I downloaded. So yeah.
Yeah, if you go into their supplement, they have their full tree, and in that one the nodes are labeled correctly. I don't know why this happened on here, but that's kind of besides the point. Yeah, so you can see they kind of group together, and you have Ambopteryx, Epidexipteryx, Epindrosaurus, and Yi. And another kind of point that I think the article misses is they're talking about Ambopteryx like it's the first of these, but Yiki is its full name, was described almost 2 years ago, and it's another one of these kind of bat-winged, bird-ish dinosaurs. Yeah, weird group. So yeah, kind of one of his points is like, oh, they're trying to fit it into the line from these dinosaurs to these dinosaurs. That's not totally true. If you read the paper, the main point of the article is, this is a weird but short-lived experimentation in dinosaur flight.
Right.
Right. They don't appear in the Cretaceous records that we know of. We didn't know about this group until like 8 years ago, I think, 8 or 9. They're very recent. And they lack like some of the key avian traits that troodontids, dromaeosaurs, and early birds have. They're kind of this bizarre offshoot of early flight experimentation. And we'll get into a little bit of the skeleton anatomy and why they're definitely not bats.
Okay.
And I can talk about some other stuff.
I want to just, make a point here. At nowhere in that cladogram we just looked at, and at nowhere in the paper does it ever suggest that they evolved into mammals and bats, correct?
Right. Yeah, that was a weird part of the art. I didn't.
Yeah, it was just blew me away. This is a quote from the article. It says, so this dinosaur is said to have evolved into bats. This find was not speculation by amateurs, but written up in the most prestigious science journal Nature by leading researchers claiming that powered flight evolved independently in vertebrates in the pterosaurs, birds, and bats, each of which has a different configuration of the bony elements and epidermal structures that form the wings. Out of that statement, he took that they were saying that dinosaurs evolved into bats. That just blew me away.
Yeah, that's very confused. I have the privilege of knowing two of the authors on this paper, not super well, but Xuxing is kind of the guy over there at the IVPP. He's probably the greatest paleontologist of this current generation. He describes all these cool things. He would certainly never make that argument. And then Jingmei O'Connor, who's also on this paper, who is the current expert on early birds. She's great. She's an amazing scientist. She recently described some lung tissue they found in a bird fossil, and a paper on an egg preserved inside of an Antarctic bird coming out of her lab. Yeah, I think it already came out. Yeah, it already came out. But yeah, I've had a few conversations with her, and in her discussion of bird origins, bats are nowhere near this side of the tree.
Of course not.
So, I mean, before we kind of get into this, there's a part early in the article where the qualifier for being a dinosaur is to be an egg-laying reptile.
Okay.
in not in this article, in Bergman's article,
Bergman's article,
which
right?
is a bizarre line to draw, because, well, for one, almost all reptiles lay eggs, so it's not useful in nailing down what a dinosaur is specifically. But secondarily, most dinosaur species are not known to have eggs associated with them. Very few are. There are probably like a handful in most major groups. I don't think ankylosaurs have any known eggs, but no one doubts that they're dinosaurs for some reason, even though they look nothing like, other things like Oviraptor or Dilophosaurus. Totally different, very strange. No one has any problem kind of wrapping their head around ankylosaurs as dinosaurs. So just like a general anatomy that most anatomy students could tell you if they've taken a comparative anatomy course, is that this animal is not a bat. And we can go through the whole skeleton. I kind of went through the article earlier, and I found a bat skeleton in our lab, and I just looked at them. And you can Google bat skeletons, and I think these things will hold up pretty consistently. So the big difference and kind of the core of this whole argument is that Ambopteryx has these wings, these membranous wings that are kind of like a bat's. And I say kind of like a bat's because that's important, because they are not the same as a bat's wing. The important distinction here is that digits 2, 3, 4, and 5 in a bat, so essentially the entire hand, make up the entirety of the wing. So digit 2 is kind of the front with digit 3, and then digit 5 bends around, and then the skin attaches to their legs. Now in Yi, oh, that's a great shot. In Yi, you can see that digits, all the digits of the hand are just kind of involved in the front of the wing. Digits 2, 3, and 4, because 1 is lost, although I think they label it 1, 2, and 3, but they have a note about that in the paper that that's probably not right. And the main element that kind of holds up the rest of the wing isn't a finger at all. It's a wrist bone, a really long, weird spine-shaped wrist bone. Same in Yi, which I think has slightly longer ones. But yeah, so just that should kind of tell you that it's not a bat. Another interesting thing is birds technically also have a membranous flap of skin that's involved in their wings. It's called the patagium. It's in the front more. But most flying animals use skin and membranes on their wings in some form to fly. Feathers just kind of take over for birds. I mean, there's just tons. The mammals have sacrums. This does not. The sacral vertebrae are distinct. Bats have very short metatarsals. This has very long bird-like metatarsals. Bats have 5-finger toes. This is the tridactyl theropod toe with an hallux, which is a very avian feature. Oh man, I mean, the wrist bones are totally different. The scapula of a bat is so the shoulder blade of a bat is very distinct. The sacral vertebra, I guess, in addition, these animals have these unfused pubis, ischium, and ilium. Bats have a fully fused, again, a sacrum, and it's fused to the sacral vertebra. It is totally different. You can see here in the figure towards the bottom, the pubis kind of is posteriorly directed. I don't know why I said ventro. So in the ischia is long, nothing like a bat. Kind of another note is bats have fur. These do not. They have feathers. 3 feather types. 1 unique to the group, which is seen in Scansoriopteryx.
Well, I don't think we have to convince anybody that these weren't precursors to bats.
Right. It's just
I just have no idea where Jerry Bergman got the idea that the paper said that. I mean,
I have no idea.
Clearly shows its relationship with other dinosaurs, and no one has ever claimed that dinosaurs turned into bats. It was just bizarre. And there was another thing that he mentioned in the paper where he talked. He referred to it, and his referral. He referred to some quote, and then he was referring back to a paper written in 1999, Feathers for T-Rex. That was number 8. He says, so why called a dinosaur? He talks about, Ambopteryx, bat is very old, must be some sort of transition to something else, and more research will hopefully tell us exactly what it evolved into. And then he's got 8 down for reference, and you go down to the bottom, and 8 is feathers for T-Rex, National Geographic, 196, 1999. It's like, why is
That's
that
strange.
reference listed there? I mean, I'm sure that I tried to find that article. I wasn't, but I mean, it can't say anything about the species because this species wasn't discovered then.
Yes,
It's just,
this entire group didn't exist back then.
well, we hadn't found him yet.
Yeah, that's
Right. Yeah.
better.
We hadn't grouped him yet. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I just, I couldn't believe that what I was reading here. It was just one of the worst written articles I've seen, and
it's
just made some really bizarre claims.
it feels like no research was done in the group that this is about
Right.
at all, and it was just kind of
Thrown out there.
thrown out there. Yeah, very strange.
Yeah. Yeah. So what else is going on with you? Are you going back to China?
Not this summer.
Okay.
Maybe the next one. I
Yeah.
might be in the Chinle soon.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we'll see.
Where? Where?
In some of the late Triassic stuff.
Well, I mean, what part of the country are you going?
Oh, New Mexico.
New Mexico. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I'll have to visit you then. I mean, I do a lot of stuff or some stuff in the Chinle here, but in Arizona, but we only work about 30 or 40 miles west of the New Mexico border there too,
Oh,
just
wow.
east of the Petrified Forest. So with
Oh,
Doug
cool.
Wolf, Doug Wolf has got some stuff there that projects that he's worked on. Next week, I'm going to be just southwest of there a little bit, back again in Coconino Sandstone. I'm meeting Dr. Spencer Lucas from the New Mexico Museum of Natural History on Tuesday next week. They found some Permian footprints in lower strata than the ones that I discovered in the Coconino. So these are actually probably hermit shales and larger tracks too. So we're going to be up there next week. It's a secret location. Can't name it right now because they're not collected, but
I
we're
understand.
gonna be working on that. It's going to be interesting because it's like the first week that the kids are out of school here, and we start the day after Memorial Day, so the area is
Oh,
going to
that'll be
be
fun.
packed with fishermen and all this other stuff. And here we'll be doing this secret excavation among all these people, so it should be interesting. Hopefully we can
Oh,
get
that'd
it
be
all and
cool.
not leave everything there. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it depends how extensive the trackway is.
Right. Yeah. So another thing is getting 3D scans if we can't collect it. That's another thing that we've been working on lately. So be kind of
3D
neat.
scans are where it's at, man.
Yeah. And there's some great phone apps for that even. So you just got to have
Really?
this. Yeah. Yeah. You just got to have the storage space on your phone for all the high resolution photos.
Right.
That's the
Yeah, that makes
biggest
sense.
problem. So, yeah. Well, cool.
Yeah,
All
very
right.
cool.
Anything else you got going on, or did you want to say anything else about this before we wrap it up?
It's just so weird. Yeah, like nowhere. I read the entire paper. I read the supplement the day this
Mhm.
came out because I love these things. Um, and it's not. It's nowhere. The most they say is like it's kind of like a bat wing. It's also a lot like a pterosaur wing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just more evidence of convergent evolution of
yep,
animals adapting to their environment by evolving similar traits based on environmental pressures and their surroundings, their habitat, and what they're eating and everything else. It's more evidence
exactly.
for evolution. So yeah.
Yeah, and they kind of incredulously like it's like, oh, how it's experimenting, they're experimenting with it. And they approach it at kind of the wrong angle where they're like, how do they know what to do? And the point is that we are finding all of these weird transitional flying things in the mid-Jurassic and the late Jurassic, like the four-winged Anchiornids, Ceracornis, which doesn't have barbules and wasn't flying, and these weird membrane wing things. And it's not that, they're trying to do stuff. It's that apparently this was a conducive time for early flight schemes in this
Mhm.
group. And a bunch of different things were tried. And, as we would predict, not every body plan will be successful. And eventually the classic, the now classic kind of like four-wing, long-tailed, feathered Paravian dinosaur won out and proliferated. and our fun scan story afterwards did not, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
But oh, another cool thing about this is they found some gastroliths. Because we didn't really know what these things were doing. They have really weird teeth that are all located right at the front of the jaw, which is also bats don't have. Bats don't also swallow stones,
Right.
because they can chew. They have molars. Yeah, so it's just a very strange, confused article from beginning to end. I certainly hope
Yeah.
he's not a biologist, a doctor
I hope he
in
doesn't
biology.
teach this stuff to other people. I mean, I think he should
Yeah,
reread some articles before he publishes on them anymore, too.
yeah. I mean,
Hey, a couple people have asked what this is behind me here in my front window, and that's a major award. Yeah, it's Italian. It said Fragile on the box. So
oh, I can't see the bottom of the leg
Christmas,
from a Christmas
Christmas toy.
story.
Oh, okay, yeah, I got a fossil, a fake
Yeah,
fossil sitting in front of it there right now. So
it's
okay.
a great movie.
Oh yeah, one of my favorites. So yeah.
All right,
All
very
right.
cool.
All right.
Well,
Well,
thanks,
thanks
sir.
again, Alex. Yeah. And
Yeah,
I'll be
absolutely.
getting a hold of you anytime I see something with birds or crocodiles.
Yes, exactly.
We
Or
need an
crocodiles.
explanation on that. People have asked that you would do something on crocodiles. So think
Well,
about that in the future.
if everything goes according to plan, I'll probably have submitted my thesis manuscript on early crocodile evolution in the skull by like August, and it'll be a few months till it's out for review, but I can talk about that when it's published.
Yeah. As soon as it's published, let's get you on here, and
There's
that
some
would be
neat stuff.
excellent. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, yeah. But
All right.
yeah, if there's a cool croc article that comes up before then and you wanna take on it, I'd like to talk about it.
All right. All right. Well,
Cool.
thanks
Well, thanks for
again.
having me, Bill.
All right. We'll see you later.
See you around.
Bye-bye.